Hmm. All right. So I'm gonna make this film one more time because I fully don't understand certain things. Hi, I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Sailor Mars, and today we're talking about yes, it was made for kids, or no, it was not made for kids. Now, I don't really. YouTube gives you two picks, right? And those are the only two picks you can do when you pick who is watching your films or who's following your films. And this leads me into believing, are anyone who picks not for kids, are they the ones that are going to get in a bind? Like, you know, like when the FTC starts going in, they're going to say, well, you didn't pick not for kids, so that means you're doing wrong, which they would actually have to have some truth to it. They just couldn't come in and say you were doing wrong. They would have to look into your fear, not fear, but fair way in your films. Now, to my understanding, if YouTube gives you two picks and you picked for kids, then that means your films were always for kids, and you know, and that you had kids in your films, or you were making films that were for kids since you were working with stuff that kids liked, or you know. Now, if you picked not for kids, that meant that your films were not made for kids and that kids were not following your films or following your fear way. That's my understanding of it. Now, the FTC hasn't actually said, they haven't really made a good job of explaining exactly what that implies. Like YouTube hasn't said it either. YouTube's like, oh, we don't know. Go talk to a lawman or a lawwoman. Well, the lawmen and the lawwomen don't even know if something would be good for kids or not. Like the FTC could come in and look at this film and they could say, well, there's dolls in this film and kids like dolls, they could say. Well, they could say that, but they would have to watch the full film to see if there was anything in there. Plus, they would have to look at, I don't know, the age or how old the folks that were following our channel or watching our films were. And I know that there are grown-ups watching our films, That's how I know that. I'm not making it up, It's not like I'm coming on and, making up shit and getting myself in a bind in January. But I know that's the truth, And I'm being truthful by it. So it's not like I'm lying. Like, it's not like, oh, you got dolls in your film and you're going to lie. No. The truth is that I have never made any film on my whole time on YouTube. Kids have never been the ones that watch my films. Actually, it's been the other way around. It was grown-ups watching my films. No kids watching my films. That was the truth. Right, Sailor Mars? Yeah, Sailor Mars said. And this is kind of fucked up. Okay? Really, truly fucked up. I'll tell you why it's fucked up. Is that you don't know if you're well or not. You don't know if you're going to get by or not get by. You truly don't know what's happening. Now, I know a lot of folks on YouTube are leaving, and some folks, that's their pick, and okay? But you don't truly know. It says set your audience, or it says, or set your watchers. So that would lead you into believing that that you're in the right. If you set that it's not for kids, then it's not for kids. And if you said it's for kids, it's for kids. So yeah, you actually did follow the law when it said what you were doing. Now, the only ones that might be in a bind are the ones that never did nothing. Now, I don't know what that implies, but I guess it means someone who never, didn't do nothing, just left it the way it was. See, I know we're not for kids. I know that. Does the FTC know that? No. Probably not. They probably going in believing everyone is doing wrong, that everyone's evil, and everyone's doing this and doing that. Which, if that's the way they're going in believing, that's the wrong way of believing. Now, I'm going to be earnest right now and say there have been no kids in this film. There have been no kid toys, unless you want to say dolls. But at this point, I think that most folks know that dolls are for anyone, so it's not just for kids. And we have never had anything in our films, never said anything in our films, or done anything with our films that either had kid show players in our films, never had anything, we were doing anything with kids in our films, never did any of that. We never took anything or asked anything from kids, and we never did. We've been in good standing with YouTube for followership oversight, ownership oversight for 6 years. So that must mean something. Then how are they going to do this? Are they going to go through every single film on YouTube? They're going to be there forever. And I don't care how much tools they have. They're going to be there forever. And I think the ones that they're going to truly look at are probably the ones that actually do have kid stuff in their films, the ones that are making income from YouTube, the ones that have sellers that are selling things to kids. Well, I never did any of that. So that's the fucked up thing of it. You don't know if you're well or not. All right? And you don't know if you're telling the truth or not. Like if we go in and we set it for kids and someone from the FTC comes along and says, comes along and goes, oh, well, you're probably, that's wrong. Or we do have it set not for kids and someone on there says, oh, you're wrong. Do you get a pick to shift your folks before they get mad at you and start doing stuff to you? Well, I'm going to be right here. Now, Salem Mars, you're right about that. Before I end this film, the thing I'm going to say right now is that we know that there are grown-ups watching our films. Do we know them by name? No. But we know grown-ups have watched our films. Look at everyone who has ever left any words on our film or on our Fairway, Fairway, and they're grown-ups. All right? They're all grown-ups. No kids. Not at all. Actually, no. There's no kids at all. So we're telling the truth. Are they going to watch the films? Or are they just going to look at the likeness and the name of the film and say, okay, well, if they're just going to look at the likeness of the film and what the name of the film is, then I guess we're good. But if they're going to watch the film, well, I'm here to tell you right now that never did anything. This channel had this Fairway had nothing to do with kids. It never had. It never will. There are some folks who think that what I'm doing on here is wrong. That's their belief. But it's not true. And I just don't want to be in some bind where I am getting fined or being told to shut down or being told to take down films or whatever because apparently someone at the FTC felt that it was wrong. And the thing is, I don't see why they would see that way. How would they actually know? They would have to look into it. They would have to come up with truth. They would have to say, hey, you know who's watching your films. Well, we know who's watching our films, and it's grown-ups. They're the only ones. We made this Sailor Moon we made the Sailor Moon channel, or Fairway, for grown-ups, followers of Sailor Moon. It was never made for kids. Even if it was based it off the Deke and Clover way of Sailor Moon, it was never for kids. You know? It never was. All of our followers are grown-ups. Even our haters, and we have a lot of them too. They were all grown-ups too. So, I think we're good. You know? Now, I don't know in January if the rating or whatever you set shows up on your channel or shows up on your films, or how it goes by showing up. Right now, there's no way to know. So, plus I got another thing is that I'm not a YouTube mate. That's right. You're right about that. We're no YouTube mate. We're not making any income from YouTube or Google or whatever. We're not doing anything with kids in our films. We don't have kids in our films. We don't got kids show playing in our films. We have no kids songs in our films. We don't do anything that any kid would want to watch. All right? We're all grown up. And all our films were made for grown-ups. Even the things we talk about are all things that only grown-ups would understand or, want to watch. So I sure hope that someone at the Federal Trade Commission knows that, or at least comes off watching it and has an open mind about it. Because me and Sailor Moon don't want to get in bad standing with someone for their belief, unless there's some truth to it, and there's not. I'm Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Mars. We'll see you later.